Welcome back to another powerful episode of Pulse of Polynesia in the hot seat. I'm your host, Leaso Filoya Li'i, coming to you live from Katy, Texas. And joining me is an amazing co host, Chief Tasi, all the way from Oklahoma. We're honored to sit down with Siope Akauola. Forgive me if I said that wrong. The
I'm
founder
good.
of House9 Foundation, a powerful grassroots mission that he and his wife started to provide a safe, loving space for youth who have nowhere else to go. They've given everything their time, their home, and their hearts to protect, uplift, and guide these young lives. But now they need our help. Let's welcome Brother Siope. What's up? Welcome, Brother
Malolele.
Hey,
Siope.
yo,
Welcome, Brother
big,
Siope.
big malolele, and Kiora from New Zealand. Thank you very much. Man, it's more like a blessing. It's a blessing for.
Yeah, no, before we begin, this is for our viewers. Like we said, we're broadening our reach. So welcoming our Tongan brothers to share with you guys. So, and for everyone else outside of Samoa, here you go. We've answered your question. So welcome, Siope.
Yep.
So, Brother
Thank you.
Siope, I have to ask you before we get into talking about House 9, can you take us back to who was Siope before this mission began?
All right. Um. Well, it's I'm just amazed. Talking to sharing the stories. But yeah, for me, I grew up in Fiji, and I think majority of you may kind of I'm Tongan, but I kind of just have the Fijian accent. Yeah, I grew up in Fiji because my dad went to school in USP,
Mm.
and then also has an opportunity to work there in Fiji. So all my school years was in Fiji. So yeah, when there's a rugby game of Fiji against even Fijian and Tongan, I always go for Fiji. Yes, a lot of people said, "Hey, why you go for?" Yeah, but yeah, all my school time I enjoyed, and it was a blessing being in Fiji, growing up in Fiji. Yes, we stayed there majority of my time back in Fiji. Yeah, so with my family, um, this work that have done, I would say in House 9, if it wasn't for my wife, yeah, if it wasn't for my wife, Liumeitupou. So my wife's first name is Liumeitupou. If it wasn't for her, I don't think I would be speaking on a wonderful occasion like a program like this. So she was the person who really come up with his ideas, and I was just I could support on that side, supporting her with her dreams. What I would say. So yeah, married to Liu. Liu grew up in the States, in Texas.
Hmm.
So those of
What
you
part of
in
Texas?
yes, Houston. So I think Ulis, right?
Euless.
Euless.
Ulis.
Euless.
Yes.
Okay, in Dallas.
She,
Yep.
yeah, Ulis. Staying there. What's the name of the high school she always said that I
Yeah,
mentioned before?
Trinity High School, I believe.
Trinity. Yes.
Yeah.
And Liu has a twin sister.
Uh,
And Liu has a twin sister, which they look exactly the same, and she's still in Texas. And a lot of people coming from America, when they came here and they met my wife, and they said, "Hey, I just saw you in yeah." So they look alike. So she grew up in the States until she came back in 2008, I think 2008,
Okay.
and yeah. So I stole her passport then and allow her to stay here in Tonga. No more going back to America. Yeah. So we met just for 1 year. So like I said earlier, I grew up in Fiji. My wife grew up in US, in the state, and then it was more like a coincidence that we just came and met in Tonga, and then we got married. So we got married in 2009. So we have 6 kids. We have 6 kids. We have 2 boys and four girls, beautiful girls. And yeah, so we've been a teacher all our lives. So before
Hmm.
like talking about House 9, I
Mhm.
think it's more like a Pacific. That's why I really like the name of the program of saying the Polynesian, the Pulse of Polynesian is a Polynesian Pacific. You know, it's just within it's in the people of, willing to help,
Mm.
having the love, in them, and they're willing to help. I've seen that. I see that in Samoans, Fijian, and even Tongans. But I think so. We've been a teacher all our lives. We've been teaching. So I think a lot of our experience and our love towards the youth, it's probably both of us. We start teaching in 2000 and in 1998.
Mm.
We start teaching in 1998, and I think we've been teaching all our lives, and I think we got those experience of, you can get along with any of the children of any age. And I think a lot of people said that this is more like a gift, but I think we have been, teaching for so long that we get along with children. So yeah, well, I think that's all about me and my wife. But I know my wife is listening. Yeah, so this is for you. I know this work would have not, going this far if it wasn't for you. But I'm just a good support. Yeah, so that's something about me. Yeah,
You have a good
thank you.
wife there, and like what I always say, and we
Yeah.
joke about it with my wife. She's the
Mhm.
I can be the boss, at work or anywhere else. So when I come home,
Yeah.
who's the brains, behind all the
Mhm.
operations, because she's a strong supporter. I want to go back to you talk about the teaching, but the legacy also extends further back. What the work your
Yes.
dad did at USP.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about your father's work before you guys
Mhm.
got into
Yes.
your work?
Yeah. So, like I said, I grew up in Fiji. My father went to Fiji, the USP, the school in USP, and I think uh, that's why I always give a lot of credit to my brother in Fiji. Yeah. If it wasn't for, yeah. So he works. He was in USP, and plus he was a tala tala. No, he was like a priest
Mm,
in there. So yeah, it was a good experience what my father was doing, and he inherit in us with my sisters of that education is very very important, and those are the two major things that going to church and going to school
yeah.
was was the two important things, and then we just grew up. And I think I like what is happening now, growing up and I just see what my dad, when he came. So when we came back from Fiji, he became a school principal for some years.
Mm,
Mhm.
Yes. We went to one of the islands, Ha'apai. He was a school principal there. And then we came back to Tongatapu. And yeah, I've seen what he did, like
yeah.
seeing some of the boys coming from the island that they were late to school, they don't have any place to stay, and he just got them. We were not even related. And I think I've seen it, both me and my wife. Even my wife said that it was the same thing that her parents did, seeing people who are really in needs and just help them. Even when she came to Texas, she came and stayed with her grandparents, and the grandparents was a minister. you know he was a preacher, so he did the same thing too, collecting people that don't have any homes and help them. So, well, it was that was really a good experience that we have seen as we grew up, here in Tonga. And I know it's the same thing. When I came to Fiji, it was the same thing Fijian does. I've seen that in Samoa, and that's why I think it's something very important that you guys doing, just sharing our stories for all our viewers. Thank you for all the followers of this program and all our viewers. Thank you very much for. But I think that was something that I learned from my father as growing up, and I think part of House 9 is it was them, our parents. They did the
Mm,
work. We've seen that, and now we are. continue with this legacy. Yes.
Yeah, you hit it right on the mark, and I wanted to bring that to our viewers' attention. Is, you know, let's also look at the works of our parents. You know, the foundation that they've set, and you guys
Mm.
are continuing those values. You know, the faith that's passed down to the next generation, and just carrying that torch. And our parents had did a lot for the community, and that's the what they
Yeah.
invested in, and those are the things that you've adopted, and you're continuing that today.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's sort of the work that we as people of the
Yeah.
Pasifika is
Yeah.
continue to give, whether it's to your own people or to other people of the
Yes.
Pacific. And I applaud you and your wife and everyone else that's continuing that legacy to reach out and lending a hand.
Yeah.
So, Sylvia, I have to ask you, when you look at when you look at young people you serve, what do you see that reminds you of your younger self? You know, we talked about you when you're younger. What is it that you see in in these younger kids? What do you see
Mm-hmm.
about yourself in them?
Oh man, like I said earlier, that growing up, there was many situations that I've been involved, and people have helped me. People have helped because I remember one time we were in Fiji, and it was this Fijian girl that really need help when we were staying in USP, and that's what my parents did. They brought her to our home, even though there was those of you that went to USP in Fiji. Yeah, we stayed in this home with only two rooms. With only two rooms. So one room was for my parents, and one room was for my sisters. I didn't have any brother. So after we have this girl, so all the girls, all my sisters, we came out and we stayed together and somewhere in the living room. And this Fijian girl, she was a little bit older by that time, and she came and stayed there. So yeah, a lot of complaining from us, but my father was just saying, which is helping that one day, we might be, somewhere in other people. And that was something I remember, as being a Christian. Yeah, he said, me helping this girl. Um, One day you're gonna be going somewhere and you needed the help. There will be people helping you guys, and there's no connection between these two situations. And he said, and that's why I believe there's a God that kind of connected all these thoughts. And yeah, but that's something I remember. But so yeah, being a teacher, I helping the kids and those who are really in needs. So I've seen seeing them, and it was more like a credit because a lot of people have helped me in my yeah in school time, especially when I was still a youth. And this is more like helping out them because something that I went through. Yeah, but I think that's just a thought that came in mind. Yeah, thank you.
Before
You
we go
know,
to the next question, we had Brother Sean join us, so I just want to quickly acknowledge what he commented on. So he's saying aloha from Hawaii. Nei. So
Aloha.
welcome, Sean. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's probably still afternoon for you guys, but yeah, welcome.
so I have to think about like just moving forward as we talk about your family, having 6 kids. I'm wondering, how did this come about with House 9? Your mind, your wife she's got so much on her plate. She's working a job, she's dealing with, with your family. But how did you come about with House 9 having to help extra people, extra
Yeah.
kids that needed your attention? How did she have the time for that? And what came about with this?
Yes, like I said earlier, that we've been a teacher all our lives, and part of our profession as a teacher, there's no there's no kids left behind.
Mm,
We make sure that because all the failure that happens in our own students, it can be reflected on on the teacher itself.
Right.
So we tried our best in the classroom to make sure that there's no kids left behind. Make sure that they all growing up. For me, um, I do believe because we don't know what's tomorrow is gonna bring, and
Right.
especially for the children. And a lot of people know me for that. I always try to advise them that you love every kid in the classroom, no matter what, because we don't know what's tomorrow is gonna bring to that kid, and we just trust the kid and just give it our all, and never give up, never give up on them. And I've seen that. I've seen that all my life. I remember sharing this. I came to America. Yeah, when we came to Hawaii, and part of that we came to Salt Lake, and then I just heard the name of this kid just calling me, uh, Brother Akauola. Can I look back? I couldn't remember the name of this kid. I just recognized the face,
Mm.
but not the name. I said, "Oh, how are you?" And he said, "It's me. I'm Brother Langi." Yes, one of the kids that none of the teacher that Liahona would love,
Mm.
would like to keep in the classroom. He was, I would say that he was an excited person. He was more like a sports person, excited every time.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so never gave up on these kids. I was surprised that he introduced me to his wife. Was a Balangi, beautiful girl. Yeah, took me to their home, and I couldn't believe what he has become. Married, so probably the Balangi girl the family was very rich. Yes, but it was a boy that it was
Yeah.
a boy that most teachers doesn't wanna. They always wish for him to be absent on every day, because
Mm.
when he comes in, they will give them a headache. But for me, never gave up, and I
Yeah.
think that experience in the classroom has brought us to House 9. It was the same thing, because majority of these kids, like I said earlier, that majority of these kids was from our own classroom. So I would say that if we are going to fail in House 9, it's more like it's the same failure that we're going to be in our class. So it really helps and push us. And with my wife, like she had the mothers, we know that as fathers are the head of the family, but man, I know Leasha knows that the mothers are the heart of the family.
Mm.
They do
Yeah.
most of the work. And I give credit, like I always said, I give credit for my wife. For majority of the work in House 9 was her. But I think it's all matters, it's that's why Mother's Day is always a big day, that, Ali. Mother's Day is always a big day. When it's come to Father's Day, it's not like it's just more like a normal day.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah. So my wife did majority of the works. I was just a big support on the side, make sure that everyone is safe. But I think that's what really helps us. Really helps us in helping those children that we stayed in House 9. And I think for us, when that experience in the classroom, when the children know that you love them, it will change behaviors.
Yeah.
When they know that you care, they will not play anymore, and
Yeah.
they won't try to test your, you know.
Some of
But
those
I think that
rebellious
yes,
behaviors are because they're not getting the love, and once they receive
yes.
that love,
Yeah.
But I
behaviors
think
will,
Addiction
there was
too.
reflect positively.
the,
Yeah.
the kids in the classroom know that you care about them and you love them, and
Yeah.
then you just totally change their behavior. They become good, and I think it was the same idea that have helped us in House 9. The kids knew that we love, that we brought them, and then we don't treat them. We treat them like our own children.
Mm.
Yeah.
Man, there was nothing hard, difficult that we came across staying in House 9. Things just went, smoothly. Kids, sometimes we don't have much to eat, but I think these children here, know, and yeah, that's really helped us. And the best thing was our children, our own children, learn from it.
Hmm.
Man, if you're going to meet any of our kids, our oldest son is in Australia. Our oldest son is in Australia.
Mm.
He's in Australia with his family. Man, everyone in Australia, they say, man, we met your son and he's just like you, funny. And yeah, but our own kids learn from House 9. And even now, I always give credit for them because it was them. It was not only the decision was only for me and my wife, but it was of these children. And I know they
Tell,
have been blessed.
can
Yeah,
you tell
yeah,
us
I think.
can you tell us a story of a couple of the kids that came through your doors at House 9, and how did that start? How did you
Oh,
see that there was help needed for that child? Because
mm,
some people don't have that blessing to be able to tell if this child
mhm.
needs help. And there's a lot, like you said, would ignore a child. So what was it what did you guys how were you guys able to capture that the kids were able to trust you was one, and
Yeah.
two, you guys were able to spot that this child needs help.
Yes, majority of the kids were referred to us by counselors of the school, that they're really
Okay.
in needs. And yeah, so that was majority of the kids came to us. But some of the children just knock on our doors and even in the classroom.
Oh,
Uh, these Indian kids, I know I told them about I try to share this with them because I hope Deepika and Nikki, I would say that they are my Fijian sons and daughters.
Mm.
So it was Deepika. Deepika was the oldest. I think they moved from home to home and they really need a place to stay. So they just came and knocked on our doors in the classroom and asked my wife, is it okay if they can come and stay with us? Well, right there, that we had no choice. We couldn't say no. And even like, I think it was meant to be for us, for my father to study in Fiji.
Mm.
Yeah. I have so much love to the people in Fiji. And when these two Indian kids came, I mean, they were Fijian, so we had no choice but just to help them. And looking at them, they were children of our Heavenly Father, and He would have done the same thing. And we said, okay. Despite there was a lot of kids that we stayed, I think when Deepika came and asked for our help, we already stayed. There was more than 10 kids that we stayed on that time, probably 12.
wow.
So we said, okay, come. Where's your brother? And so, yeah, he's still. So, yeah, after school, we can go and pick up your stuff. Yeah, so like I said earlier, it was something that it was more like a gift, that we have as being a teacher. You know, I know teacher is more like a work from God because you're changing lives
Yeah.
of uh, of children. So when she came and asked, it was it. Sometimes kids come to me, then I said, "Wait there, I have to talk to my wife." You know, so my wife said, "Hey, yes," but majority of the kids probably Ali, they will go to the boss. They will go to my wife,
Yeah.
and
I like what you mentioned earlier when we talked offline. Um, you mentioned your wife was the one that her keen eye, and also because of her living in the States, there's some things that she observed, and you can tell the difference. Like,
yeah,
when she went to the islands, the things that she observed that we islanders may not necessarily, pick up early because we lived among them. But it
Yes.
was your wife's eye that said, "Hey,
Yeah.
there's something, about that kid over there. You know, I can tell he needs help." And I think that's sort of some of those kids early on. She was able to open your eyes.
Hmm.
That's sort of the signs,
Yes.
you need to pay attention to. So, share some about that, about the kids that were needing bus fare, like early on in
Yeah.
your work.
I said, I think all the work started when we started helping the kids. It was when we came back. When we came back
Mm,
from school, we both graduated from PY Hawaii. We both graduated. We came back to school. Both our pay got raised. At that time we were so blessed. See a lot of money coming in. Yes, and it was just a thought. You hear you going to church. We all does that. All Polynesian will go to church every Sunday, and the preacher will always preach that you need to go help out in order for you to keep his commandment. You need, it was something like that keep us excited,
mm,
that with this blessing, so much blessing that we have, because we got a pay raise, we have to help, especially saying that we have to help our neighbors. And then from there, it was more. I was trying to question myself, who's my neighbors? And they said could be anyone, but people who are in need. Then I said, I think our closest neighbors is our own children in the classroom, because we were both teachers at that time.
right.
Mm.
So then we decided, okay, just because we knew about the kids coming into your classroom every day, that they were in need.
Hmm.
So our closest neighbors was our children in our classroom. So we started
Yeah.
helping. We started to identify kids, really smart kids, and then started to recognize that some of them missing school.
Yeah.
And then, try to find out, because sometimes you ask so many questions to kids, they will be ashamed to tell you the truth. So it was just asking their friends, and even some of them said that some of these kids miss a lot of school because they couldn't pay for their school fees, and some
Mm,
they don't have any bus fare. So we will go out and find out about their school bus, the driver, and tell them how much can I pay for a month, uh, their school bus fare. So we would have pay in advance a month, or sometimes pay 2 months for each of these kids who really need a bus. Even some of the kids miss school because their parents didn't pay for their school fees. Then we start going out there and pay for their school fees. And when they come back, some of them we didn't tell them that we are the one who paid, but you see the excitement, the lights on their eyes. Um, they are so grateful. They're so grateful that someone more like they even shared. They even shared with people that she doesn't know, or he doesn't know, who paid for school fees. There might be an angel out there. So it was a great feeling, Ali and Liaso, that you are being called an angel. You're helping. Yeah, even some of the kids, especially boys. I was more like a coach, rugby boys, and in the afternoon we go out and start training, and then we bring their school. But you remember in Tonga that all their school they wearing white shirt. They're wearing a white shirt. So when they change and bring the shirt and leave it by you can see through the collar that some of the shirt it was really dirty. It's more like this kid has been wearing the same shirt for for 3 days. And I think, yeah, I start going out and buying them shirt, even sandals. So that's how we started to help children. And then from there, you recognize that some of these kids, there's no use of helping them with their school fees and bus fare. That they were living in an environment that it's not really supporting them to come back to school. So we found out the majority of these kids Like they're coming from single mom, uh, broken families. And then then we started to go out, find more about their background, and then we start bringing them one by one, and we stayed in House 9. So we started with two, and then it started to increase to five. And there were some of the kids who just come straight to us and ask for, if they can come and stay. By then, like the two Indian kids, like they were already, more than 10 kids. We couldn't say no. But I think that's how we started to help the children. It was because we got a pay raise, and this blessing. But all this time, so my wife, so a lot of people was telling me that I would have went for bachelor degree. I would have gone for my master's, for my doctorate. But I said no more education for me. I think the only university that I'm working on now is helping these kids. Uh, my father was very disappointed with me. He said, "You are very smart. Why don't you continue on with your education?" Oh, another thing that I want to share with you. 2011, we came visit New Zealand, and my family knew about our oldest son. He was very talented with rugby. They were amazed with his skills and stuff. So all my family in New Zealand, like they tried to support us with money wise. He said, "Go to Tonga and see." So what I did was get my certificate from, because I also had my diploma as a teacher in Tonga and also the BYU. So what I did was bring all my certificate and here to New Zealand, and then they are going to look at it and see if it's yeah, man, I was surprised I would say that they accepted.
Yeah, all the
So
credentials that you've had.
yeah,
Yeah.
they accepted, and I was ready. I was ready to apply for a job, for a school. That was the next step. So by that time in 2011, we brought this good news, for our own children. Remember, by that time in 2011, yeah, there was like probably 8 or 10 kids was on staying with us. So we came, talked to our kids. Hey, we can't wait to go to New Zealand. So they were
Hmm.
so excited. But it was our son. So the only thing, it was hard for us to leave these children now. And then we said, why don't we ask our son? Because the main purpose of us trying to move to New Zealand was our oldest son going there to play rugby.
Mm.
So then we decided, okay, whatever our son will tell us, that will be our decision. So when we came, we asked our son. I think our son and his wife probably listen from Australia, and he did a great job. We asked our son, if what do you think? We still go to New Zealand or we stay here? It's up to you.
Hmm.
So, man, he cried. He cried the day and he said, "Are we taking all the children?" Then I said, "Yes, we're taking all our children, our 6 kids. We're all
Mm.
going. We're going to New Zealand." And he said, "No,
Mm.
what about Nikki and Pika?" And yeah, we can't take them. I said, "We can't take them." Then he said, "If we can't take them, then we stay." Man, I just want to thank my son because this great work here, if it wasn't for him, probably, we came to New Zealand, maybe have a blessed life here in New Zealand. Maybe he
Yeah.
would have went to his rugby career, but because of this decision, we continue on to stay.
Yeah. Your
And
son's got a
how
good
and
heart
yes,
there. You can tell
and
he
House
was
Nine still
raised well.
exists because of his decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was. that was a great thing that we've seen, especially with our children. And now we still continue on the legacy of House 9 because of that time. But remember, staying, this was 2011. It was, the program were not registered yet. The program were not registered yet. So House 9 with all these children was just out of it came out of our own, paycheck,
Mm.
Yeah.
Man, we couldn't believe how we survived that.
Wow.
Like looking, looking at our pay on that time. I remember, I was wear tupendo, the lava lava, the tupendo, and all the money, majority of the money I was putting in my pocket. And my wife, now we look back now, my wife said, "Man, all this time we don't know how we help these children,
Right.
because every time I come to you for money, every time my children run to you for money, there's always money. You always reach up to your pocket of your tupendo, and you always give us this money. But we sit down now and try to figure out all this expense. Man, we have no idea. So we were so blessed on that time. I know with the great faith that we had, we would have reached out to all the children. But all these children coming and asking us for help, even though there was not enough space, even though we knew there was already a lot in our plates, but yeah, we couldn't say no, just like in a classroom. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was the thought is helping these children.
You
I'm
know that
gonna.
God's work.
Go ahead.
No, I would say it's God's work. We always say,
Yeah,
miracles happen, and
I know miracles.
I'm
There's
not
a
saying this
lot.
sarcastically, but like the magic year lava lava where the money is always available.
Yes,
So sometimes we don't know God's ways of providing. So
yes.
if it's okay with you, Leaso, let's read two comments before we resume.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So we got is that her name, Leaso? Jean Lofi Tehira?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. You clearly have a beautiful and compassionate heart where the Lord and the Holy Ghost prompts you to act and use you in whatever capacity. Recognizing those gifts is a blessing to you and your beautiful wife. But most importantly, those who you touch daily. Remember to be very specific in your personal prayers. God is very aware of all your needs, all our needs. May God bless you always. Thank you for the kind words.
Thank you very much.
Uh,
Oh,
Mhm.
oh
and
good.
another one from Janet. It goes with the saying, people don't care about what you know unless you show them how much you care. So I think this was the early reference when you were talking about helping the kid
Yeah,
that no one gave hope to. So,
Mhm.
you know, the kids will respond based on how they're treated by others. I
Yeah.
love how God made provision for you both and the children. So thanks again to our
Yeah.
viewers
yes.
for
Thank you very
sharing
much.
with our guest
Yeah,
speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
thank you very much. Big malo apito for
Mhm.
those. Man, that's really makes my day. Thank you very much.
I, you mentioned a lot about the sacrifices that you have to make with your family. You
Yes,
put aside your goals of trying to even your dad's wish of his son to get his master's degree, that you
yes,
pushed that aside, and you
it
also
is.
had your son who you raised your kids so well because they had learned through charity and sacrifices.
Yes,
They've learned to put others first, and the fact that he put his opportunity to play rugby just so
yes,
that you guys can continue the work to help the kids. I want to know, as far as House 9, I don't think a lot of people understand it's not that easy to start an organization like this. And
yes,
this came about out of your own pocket. You
it is.
know, you would
Yeah,
think you go to school, you get an education, you get a better job to help take care of your family. But your family consists of your kids, your wife, you, and everybody else that needs your help, that calls and cries. Even though it's like the $1 you have left, you use that money to pay for a child's bus fare or someone to eat
yeah,
that day. And I want all the viewers out there to know that if you can help, please help. There's the information is listed right there for
yeah,
you underneath the social media. You reach out
yeah.
to us or his address. He's currently in New Zealand right now. So if you're in New Zealand, please stop by, donate if you could. clothes, food, however you can, because everything is
Yeah.
coming out of their pocket. And I just wanted to say that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Studying the program in Tonga, it's totally a new thing for the people of Tonga, and I think it's a pretty new program. And then we have tried reaching out to the government. You know, I know that they are working, working on program like that. But it was just a thought, of telling them, okay, maybe the program that you're trying to create, maybe it's gonna work in 5 years. Why don't you just help House 9 because it's already running. But things like that, like I said, it's pretty new in Tonga. And a lot of people is in total in denial that there's something like abuse, that domestic violence is happening in Tonga. But yeah, so I've been in Tonga, and so a lot of our viewers, I'm in New Zealand right now. And the main purpose of me coming to New Zealand was just to come and visit families. But the main purpose was, just coming in, and just spread more about what we have done in House 9 in Tonga. And yeah, so just coming here and just seek for help. I'd love to come and see if there's any program here if there's anyone who know about it. I'm asking my relatives about it, but a lot of them they don't really know much. But I want to come and visit. Yeah, but that was the main purpose of coming here, and also coming here and maybe seek people for help, like a bag of sugar or a bag of flour. It's going to be
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
big help, especially the girls that we stayed with. Clothing. It's just a daily need. Yeah. So right now it's there's a program from Australia. I'm so grateful for Australia. So probably I can, if anyone here in New Zealand who know that there's also something program in New Zealand can help. But there's a program in Australia, uh, funded by the government. It's helping with our bills. So they have tried to help us with our electric bills, our water bills, and even our gas. Yeah,
Good.
they have helped us, and they have helped us there. But what our needs, our really needs, is our daily needs, like food.
Mm.
Because we're still trying to seek for help for people. Some individual come out with a box of chicken,
Mm.
with a sack of cassava. But yeah, but continue on to we are looking at to continue on with House 9, and we really need something. So here in New Zealand, probably if I can collect um, you know uh, some food and probably ship it in a box to Tonga. So like I thank you, Leaso and Ali, for allowing people to know more, and especially our viewers. The interest that I'm staying with is we're giving out. So I'm always in the home, because it's really cold for me, man. This is totally a new thing. It's really cold. So what I do now is just stay and watch TV. I tell them no, I don't want to go out. So I'll be in the home the whole time. But I think that was the whole thought. Yeah. The program is moving slowly, moving slowly. So thankful for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They have helped us with some of our dreams. They have provided a new van, a new shuttle, 16 seaters, man. I couldn't believe that. Leasa and Ali, they just appeared on Christmas Eve. It was around
Mm.
near Christmas. And they just came and gave that present. Man, that was the best present I ever received. They just came and gave us the shuttle. It was a pretty new one. We're so grateful. And there's some other program that they have helped. You know, they have helped us. Just giving us food. But I think that that was the main purpose of me coming here. And I was advised, hey, you need to let people know more about House 9, man. You guys doing a
Yeah.
great job
Yeah.
there. You need people to know about it. No one is going to donate or help if you don't allow them.
Yeah.
So I have tried with just give a live on our my own Facebook page.
Yeah.
But I think this is a big hit. It's not only for Tongans, but for those in the
Yeah.
Polynesian. Yeah. So I'm so grateful. But the truth is, yeah, we are really in need. And sometimes when we try to ask for help, from the government and try to help, uh, when we don't receive an answer, or you know, when you don't hear any donation coming in, sometimes it's very discouraging.
Right.
And sometimes we turn to each other, me and my wife, and we say, "Is House 9, you know, still need to continue on, or
Oh.
maybe it's time." Yeah, sometimes something like that sometimes comes. But as looking at our vision is, of what we have gone through with these children, we believe that, yeah, we continue with that. I know there's a lot of struggle, but yeah, so seeking for donations and help that will really, give us more like a thumb up. Continue on, continue on. You guys doing a great job. So yeah, so I'm so grateful for.
You mentioned like you answered a lot of the questions that I was gonna ask, especially when you felt like it felt like it was impossible to continue. So I wanted
Yes,
to ask in regards to that, how when it becomes too much for you and your family, how were you guys able to get past that, to keep you guys together? Because I know there are times where you become very frustrated and it
yes,
causes a lot of arguments,
yes,
within the family because you're trying to keep it together, but then there's so much going on and there's not enough to take care of you, your family,
yeah,
and the kids at the House 9. So how did you have to go about in
yes.
keeping it together for your family?
I think it will be difficult to answer that questions, but I think with the faith that we have,
Mm.
and then we
Mm.
have looked back to to all these paths that we came through. That there's a lot of children that we have helped and we have saved. You know, um, we would say that maybe it's enough. We have helped a lot of kids. Why don't we just stop right now? Yeah, but we know. But like I said, remember when we done with House 9, when we moved out, my wife wanted to continue on with the program, and we were told and advised, and I think that was the best advice that we received in House 9 is people seeing us helping, just helping. But remember that it was not registered yet. Yeah, and then it was my wife who encouraged me. Let's register, because for us to be on the safe side, the program has to be registered.
Mm.
If something happened, so it was my wife who keep on pushing me. But for me, then I said maybe it's done. You know, let's let's focus on our own children. Because our own kids now are, they are growing. They have a lot of important needs for us. Maybe our pay needed to be focused on them. So I was more like the other. My wife was the better half on that time. So I was the one who kind of discouraged. But after so much prayer, I would say that prayer and a lot of seeking help from our church leaders, it really helps us. But I just thought to myself after that if we're going to stop, I'm being so selfish, that I'm just looking just on within our children. And what about just the same thing of what my son said? If we are not taking all the kids to New Zealand, then we just stay. Yeah,
Mm.
that was the same thought. But at the same time, with all these children that we have saved, they have mentioned this to me and my wife, that we have been angels, that we have become angels to them. So to answer your questions, in the time of struggle, facing a lot of tribulation in House 9 in our lives, I believe there's angel. There could angel out there, yeah, who can help us. Just like how we become angel to this children. I believe that. I believe in miracles. And yes, that I think that is just a thought that is. I know that God is going to help. If we become angel to other children, then yes, I know there's angel out there. So you too. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, no, I
Appreciate.
want to extend on what you said. Like we always talk about our program here. Um, it's been a beacon of hope to a lot of people that come to our program, and it's not by accident when people come on the program because we
Yeah,
feel that we're all connected by somehow. And the works that you guys do, especially the faith, you're following the path a lot of the missionaries have laid down when they first arrived in across the Pacific Islands. The work was never easy. So
yes,
the journey that you guys take, of course, it's always going to be a challenge. It's always going to be a challenge, and it's
yes,
a path that you're going to struggle mightily. But you have to rely on that faith to continue to work. And it's the few folks like you guys who are, you know, providing that. But you also have to take a leap of faith to come to these types of program like ours,
yes,
to express that
Yeah.
voice, to put your pride aside and to say, God is saying, go and deliver that message. So don't sit idle. There's programs out there that and you took that step, and that's what we're
Yeah.
here for. We're being that megaphone or microphone to extend it across the Pacific, regardless of who's viewing. Um, that's the word that we're giving
yes,
out to you. If you have in your heart to extend this program to the kids that are in need, we've all been in the islands. We grew up in the islands. We know what our kids are needing.
yes,
There are some families who are struggling, and we're not observant to it. But thanks to the works like you guys have, are
yes,
providing that hope for these kids, because we don't know, we're not giving those disadvantaged kids the brighter future, but by providing that opportunity to them, who knows what they can be one day. There's a lot of governors or presidents, or you name it, the future leaders who are denied the
Yeah.
opportunity because of their background. So I commend you guys for your work, and that's what we're here for. So we'll also I just want to say that we do, if you have TikTok, I don't know if you have TikTok or not, but we also do our lives on TikTok. And
great.
we'll probably let you know when we do go on TikTok live. And if you also want to come out there just to share with our viewers,
Hmm.
so beyond this podcast, there's another
That would be nice.
opportunity for you to just to
Yeah.
talk to whoever comes on our other live, aside
Yeah,
from this one. So this one's dedicated to you, but we'll
yeah,
extend that invite to the other podcast, because I want to make sure that the message gets across to promote what you guys are doing. You're doing a lot of great work. It's just
Hmm.
sometimes it gets buried and not recognized, but it takes a program like this to get the voice out. So thanks again for
yep.
taking that leap of faith and not having that pride to say, "Oh, I'm ashamed to go
You know,
Yeah.
and put myself out there." And thanks to your, wonderful wife over there that's
uh,
saying, "Husband, be
uh,
obedient, get out there and get out there and do the work."
yeah,
Hmm.
she's probably watching, and I know she's excited. Yeah, but like I said earlier, yeah, you guys have been an angel. Inviting me to this program. I know there were a lot of people view. Yeah, man, I never been like, um, so much in this. I'm not that type of person, but man, this program is just, I just brought my thoughts out, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, let me ask you, for the viewers who are just tuning in as well, right? Can
yeah,
you can you remind us what type of students or kids are coming to your program with what type of problems? And that way,
yeah,
everyone knows, like, it's not just one type of kid that has no
yeah,
bus fare. There's
yeah,
different types of issue that these children are facing. Can you tell us what kind of problems come to your doors
yeah.
from these kids?
So right now, most of our clients are coming from school, and even some are coming from. Some of them has been uh, coming on their own, like uh, being self-referred to us, like for my family, like saying that some that they have their cousin or them that they're missing, that they run away from home, and some of the children being referred from the domestic violence of the police.
Mm.
Okay.
Yes, and I like said earlier that I think it's on our website. So for those of you who want to know more about our vision and our mission, is on our website of House9 Foundation.org. You can uh, yeah. So we are helping girls only from age of 13 up to 25, because here in Tonga, our children, or especially the girls, are not independent until around that age, 20, 23, not 18. you know Most of the girls are even like still staying with their parents, so that's why we extend the age to 25, because some of the clients are still going on that age. So we're helping. So majority of the girls of our clients are being helped because they have you know they have faced problem in their youth life. So sometimes the word abuse is more like it's more like we say a really bad words. And the things that we are looking at is we're looking at the parents, and those in the society. But what we found out that even parents, we all parents. Sometimes we get mad at our own children, and we want to, hit them, or even like saying words that it happens sometimes, But I'm looking at the children in our days is totally different, you know, and they have been educate things different. Like if someone touch you, even your own parents, and like just a just a little spank, then you're going to report. Yeah, so that's what is happening with all children. So sometimes I always give credit to parents, like they are the one that going through in poverty. That's another major problem now in Tonga. Poverty is really causing a lot of. I saw one of your programs talking about mental health,
Mm.
Yeah.
because I know that that was one of the major problems here in Tonga that causes a lot of climate change problem here in Tonga. Like fishermen is no longer getting what they usually have.
Mm.
Selling, they get that kind of income. Even those they're going out to the farm. It's all changing now, and I think that one of the major programs that we go and support the climate change, or the climate change program here. But I think that's what really causes the major problem here in Tonga is is the lack of income. Okay? But before, like if my parents they said, "Oh, sorry, son, don't have any lunch money." It's okay, mom. It's okay. I I'll just take that piece of bread, and that was okay with us. Teenagers now is different. Like you said, "Oh, sorry, I don't have that much money." They will just say something, and they will leave and say, "Okay, I'll go and stay with my friend because you couldn't afford for that."
Mm.
So majority of our client is going through that. So a lot of abuse, yeah, physical abuse, mental abuse, and all sorts of abuse. But majority of the girls that we've seen that it's being referred to say the parents or the uncle. But in the Pacific, we know that we cannot heal a child without including their parents, because it doesn't matter. I think with our Pacific way, it doesn't matter how much that we have. Let's say we abuse or we hit our son or our daughter. It doesn't matter how huge the impact was. They will still love us as a parents. It will take time. It will take time for them, but they will come back. So one of our major work here was we have counselors to work with the children, with
Oh,
the girls
good.
or the client. At the same time, we also have a counselor that work with the parents.
Okay.
So yes, and
So you
I think
you
that
have the kids staying with you, And then
Yeah.
those that have the parents that are still connected with the child, they also receive counseling so that while they're
Yes.
with you, they're able to go back to their parents if they're
Yeah.
allowed, right?
Yes.
So your House 9 is a safe haven for the kids. And from
Yes.
what I understand is that these kids are going through a lot of different types of abuse,
Yes.
mental,
Different type of abuse.
physical, and we're
Yes.
talking about also sexual abuse.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And there's a lot
Even.
of poverty that's going
Mhm.
on, especially in
That
Tonga.
is, I think that's a major problem now, right
Hmm.
now. But like I said, I know I've read a lot of program. I knew about a program in Fiji that we're kind of connected. I seen how they take care. And and they put a stop right there for parents. But yeah, there's a case some yeah, that we can, but majority we see our own children. I mean, kids here in Tonga. It's very important to help them, but at the same time, we also need to help them to go back home. You know, and that we they need that spiritual push, and and even our counselor will come and make sure that, because sometimes if you can keep them away from their parents, they will still love them, even though the mother or the abuse or hate them, but that love is still within them, that respect. So part of our work
Especially
is to
where,
help.
yeah, especially where we're with Polynesians, right? Especially
Yes.
with Pacifica, where we grew up, like I grew up, where parents, um, spanking is a thing. We get
Oh
spanked
yes,
from our
that's part of
parents, and
learning.
so yeah, and I think for the kids, it's a different time, different era, and
Yes.
sometimes that spanking can go way beyond causing mental
Yeah.
mental breakdown for the child, especially.
Yes.
And so, the program when you talked about the government, you mentioned that the government doesn't really look at it like it's an issue for
Yeah.
this, that they don't pay much attention to the program, and that's why a lot of times you're struggling to get the
Oh yes.
funding you need for your program
Mm.
because this situation is not a big situation for them to deal with.
Yes.
And
It's
I could
not.
see why. I could see why is because they feel like there's other big problems they need to deal with,
Yes.
not understanding that these kids are our future. And
Yes.
so if we can't fix our this younger generation, our future is not going to be bright for the kids, especially for
Hmm.
Tonga or whatever island that's out there. So,
Yeah. Yeah. You're John. That is true. But I think we just have to keep on knocking, and just allowing
yeah.
them. But it goes slowly for them to identify that, because I just overheard the conversation on the parliament lately. I think it was before last week. I heard that they are thinking of creating things like that, but it's moving slowly. But it was just a thought of saying that, why don't you just wait, just hold there that a lot of money you're gonna spend on building things, we just move slowly. Why don't you just help us? Because we're already starting. You
Yes,
know,
you're already established.
yes, it's already
Yeah, why
it's
create
it's already
another one when you've already have one that's already
already have
established
yes,
that's been there for years? So
yeah.
you
So
forgot to mention, usually when you build an organization, you have a name that ties into what's going on,
oh,
right? So tell us, why was it named House 9? I,
uh,
I like the story you told us before, but if
uh,
you could share how the House 9, the name for
that's
your
nice.
foundation, came about. Mm.
Yes. So, like I said, after we start helping kids in our own students, and we brought them to our home, because we were teachers. Yeah, we were teaching this Liahona High School, and
Mhm.
this school provides in the campus. They provide housing for us teachers. Not everyone. It was, I think, it's not many housing, but you are going to be called a lucky one if you're going to have a housing, because you're going to give a very important reason for them to give you a housing. So we applied for a house. We wanted to come and start fresh in inside the campus. We applied so many times, and then finally we were accepted. And then yeah, so the house that we were given was house number 9. So we came and stayed. So all those time we were helping. We were stayed in house number 9. So in 2023, that's when we finally decided to register the program, you know, and as NGO. So we thought about it. There was different names, even one of the names that came to us to name it after one of the girl that we have helped. One of the girl that really pushes us that we have helped, and now she's in Australia. You know, and yeah, she's in Australia. Let's say her name is Mele. We thought of starting was I've heard the name of a foundation started by this Tongan guy. His name is Sione. Sione's Foundation. We thought about it. We were gonna call it like
Okay.
her name Melis. But as we thought about it, no, Mele is not the first girl client that we have helped. We have helped so many
Many.
girls and so many children living in. And then we thought about, why don't we name it after House Number 9? Because House Number 9, that's where we all started.
That's
That's
where it started.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was there. We all this experience and this is more like a gift for us because of all the help that we have done in House 9. So yeah, then we thought that we name it House 9 Foundation.
It's a good tribute to your origins, because a lot of
Yeah.
work was done
Yeah,
on the side, out of your own pocket. Just a lot of support to those who needed it
yeah,
happened at House 9 before you, like you said, before you put it into registration. But it's a good way to tie it back to its roots.
yeah,
I have to go back to you mentioned about you only house just the girls, ages
yeah,
13 and up to 25.
yeah.
Is there a reason why the boys can't be housed at your program?
Okay. Um, we have helped when we started in 2023. Um, we have helped two boys,
Okay.
and then from there, because right now in our housing, uh, there was a lot of people have help us in 2 rooms. They have extended 2 rooms and give it. So
Okay.
for altogether now that we have 7 rooms, we have 7 rooms altogether. So when we start increasing the number of girls, and then we thought about it. When these two boys left, one this great kid, he was in athletics. We have helped him. I didn't know that he was more like a soccer star. I mean, he was really good playing soccer. So after we've helped him, because he excuse me, he moved from place to place. After we brought and helped him, then he just shined like he was. I knew that he was an athletics. And then he had a coach who heard about him. Never, I mean, I think he was looking for him but couldn't find. But when he heard about that he's staying with us, then he came back and encouraged us that if he can take him because he was one of the good soccer player. Yeah, he didn't want to leave, but we encouraged him. So now, man, so excited to stay with him all the time. So I can't wait to see him on TV. He's one of the good. So he moved, and the other boy, we have helped him, and he's gone on a mission. Yeah, he's gone on a mission in America. He came to America. So and plus we look at it. No, boys here in Tonga, it's okay. Now if they have gone through, they can stay with friends, even relatives. But I think it's just the girls that they're really the needs.
You need more help. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're
Yeah.
very sensitive. And that's why we thought of, and plus it was increasing because we have this lack of rooms. We have 7 rooms right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, so then we thought to just go with girls, but but we never know when the situation comes for us. We only focusing on girls only, and there was a situation that there was this a mother with her daughter, who came and seek for help. They were referred to us by other people. I mean, it was hard for us because we couldn't. We were focusing on girls, but looking at the situation, man, she was there with her daughter. Then we thought about it. We have help, but right now they already have a place to move on to.
It's
So, like I
good.
said, House 9, we have put all our, but it depends. If situation comes, it will depend on seeing if those who are really in need. So yeah, so House 9 is a refugee. So people who are
I have to
really need
ask.
our help. Mm.
I have to ask with all the girls that's come through your doors, right? Can you, we so we know now like what type of kids that come through your doors. Now we've gone through the process of,
Mm.
having them there. What are some of the success stories of these girls who have left House 9 and moved on with their lives?
And uh, one of the boys, one of the boys that I remember we have helped in staying in House 9. He just called, He's I didn't know that he has moved here to New Zealand. He married just a Tongan girl, citizen here in New Zealand, and I was I was told that he was here. Yeah, he just called me. It just made my day, and he was telling me, "Where do you live?" And then I gave him the address, and he said, "Okay, you have any needs or something? I'll bring it." Then I said, just come and visit me. Um, Probably, yeah. But with a success, so like I said, staying in House 9, I would say that we've helped more than 40 plus children. And then when we start 2023, registered that program, and we continue. I think we have helped 20 plus kids that we have seen. With the success story, man, it's a lot of. Someone told me that if you can write a book about all the children.
Yeah. No, yeah, go ahead, go ahead. You're good. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Wow. Wow.
Mm.
What a full circle coming right back to serve again. Yeah. But you didn't marry a white woman, you married a Tongan. And you kept her passport. Okay. Mm. Oh. Not because she married a white person. Yeah. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She going on. Yeah. Oh, wow. Hmm.
Right. Continue that legacy that you got. Yeah. Yeah. But I want to go back to what you said, about like marriages, right? So my recommendation is for the Tongan women, find you a Samoan man, and for the Tongan men, find you a Samoan wife. Because I'm tired of the Tongans and Samoans arguing. Y'all need to marry each other
Right?
so we can fix this issue. I'm tired of the Samoans and Tongans arguing. Go marry each other because we've always had those marriages all in the past. All of a sudden, bridge the gap. And my solution to bridging the gap is go marry each other. So we're all beautiful Tongans and
Be
Samoans.
done
So
with.
why do we stop this that we I see.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, you couldn't tell that one guy you met up with there in New Zealand, you thought he was Samoan, but he ended up being Tongan.
Yeah. No, it reminds me because I used to teach. It was part of the Army ROTC program, and I was teaching up at a small university northwest of Oklahoma. And I seen this Islander kid, and you can tell his hair. He played football for Northwestern, and I seen him. Of all the people there, he's looking at me just like what you're saying. He's looking at me. I'm looking at him, and eventually we get together, and I ask him, "You Samoan?" And he said, "No, Tongan." And then we kind of embraced, right? Because it was the Polynesian love for one another. So and we kind of joked and I said, "Oh, how did you know I was poly?" And what do you think he said, Lasso? How did you know I was poly?
Is it
What was the
because of?
feature?
Let's go.
Go ahead. How
Oh,
did
okay, so
what?
I don't know if you heard Siope. So we had this Tongan kid who had played
Mm.
football for the university I was teaching at,
Yeah.
and we noticed each other. There was a college fair that was going on. We seen each other, but then eventually, we linked up, and I asked him Samoan. He said no, Tongan, and then so we kind of joked like, "Oh man, I knew you were a poly from a distance," and we both said at the same time, "The nose, right? The nose."
Yeah.
So it was the running joke, like I could tell you're Polynesian, but the nose, but I couldn't tell if you were Samoan and Tongan. But that's kind of like the love that we have as Polynesians.
Yeah.
We didn't see him as Tongan and I'm Samoan. Like
Yeah.
we embraced each other, and every time that was the family that we created. And then even when I left Northwestern, I got to Oklahoma State. I met the other football player, and his family. His name was Tolu Moala.
Yeah.
You know, just always like taking care of each other. And there's times when he needed to go fly back to his family out west. He would call me up and he said, "Hey, Arlington, I need a ride to the airport." So there it was, driving him, down to Norman where I live, and taking him to the airport. But I know I'm stealing, your podcast, but I'm trying to, mention one of the issues that frustrates me that I see today is, we need to put aside our
Yeah.
differences as just Polynesian altogether, but specifically the Tongan and Samoan
Come on.
community. Like, we need people to be vocal and fix this, right?
Hmm.
Bridge the gap. The relationship needs to be healed and put aside those differences.
Yeah, I recognize that here in Tonga, there's so many someone have married Tongans that they are here, and there's no problem that I've seen. They have enjoyed. They're just like when there's situation that happen in New Zealand, like in the rugby stuff. You know, we kind of just saying to each other. I mean, I don't know why they. I'm not saying that like, oh, we treat them differently. And I think it's the same thing. There's a lot of Tongan in Samoa, that the Samoan are not treating them differently. It's it's just individuals. It's individuals that just come up in and it just happen at the. So it's just yeah, I don't know. So one day I was running. We came past with my children in one of the and two schools they were fighting. You So my daughters and my son, they were sitting in the back seat, and they were saying, "Dad, why are they fighting? Why they keep on fighting each other?" So instead of trying to answer my daughter's questions with, I, answer her, I answer her with another question and said, "Okay, why do you keep on fighting with your brother? If you can answer that, then I can answer that question you just asked me." And she just sit there and said, and she couldn't say anything. Then I said, "Yeah, probably. I don't know how to answer that question. Probably it's just a natural thing." And then from there, then she said, "Yeah, you need to explain why do we." Then I said, "Oh, you guys sit down together." So all our six kids sit down together, and then he said, "Okay, you tell me which of these your brother and sisters that you find the most." And then she just said, "Him and her." So she's pointing the two sitting next to them. Yeah, so it's natural. Remember that you were the youngest on that time. You were the baby. You were and you were the everyone focusing on carrying you. Yes. and came to a time when your younger brother were born, and he's the youngest. Remember, he is the baby now. You're no longer the baby. Then all our focus turned to your younger brother. And what happened to you? Oh, I've been jealous. Yes, it's natural. That's what is really happening. It's something. But like we said, I think it's just individual people who maybe have bad experience with them, and that's why they started that. But the thing as a whole, I think is we are good. But like you said,
Yeah.
we just need to create activities and ideas. Like here in New Zealand, you couldn't tell which one is Tongan. They even in school, no, even in school, I was trying to ask my niece and one of my nephew, you know, how they're doing, and they mentioned that their best friends are Samoan and Fijian.
Mm.
So, but it is true. We bring this I think this program is good that we come up with ideas that we need to continue on to.
I got a question for you though.
Yes.
You've been in, I'm going to sidetrack on a different subject. You've been in Fiji for so long, pretty much your whole life before
Mm.
you got to move back to Tonga.
Mhm.
What is your favorite food from Fiji and why?
Okay. Well, my wife knows that. I love roti, man. I love roti with curry.
Yes.
With curry, yes. And I know how to, that's what I cook. The only thing here that I couldn't cook the same as Fijian does is the spices. You know, yeah. We have there's some spices that they sell in a supermarket in Tonga, but it's not the same. So hopefully,
Ask your wife.
yeah,
Ask your wife which spice is more spicy, the spice from Fiji or the spice from Texas. Like when you get the chance,
yeah,
ask her for me
yeah. Oh,
because,
for my wife,
yeah.
she always like asks the people, especially when people come from America. There's these different spices that she brought, and I think it's Mexican. It's
Yes.
Mexican spices that she said is her favorite. Yeah, but for me, now Fiji, man, Fiji. Yeah, it's just a Fijian curry and the roti. Yeah,
Yeah,
man, I
roti is the
love the roti.
best.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Hey,
Okay,
I
so
share with you the funny story. When first time we
mhm,
went to Fiji, yeah, remember I couldn't speak English, not a word.
mhm,
When there. So in a school canteen, I always have to go out there and to get. But remember, I don't know the. So I stand there
yeah.
for a while on the first day. Then I see kids say roti. Okay, what do you want? Roti. What do you want? Well, roti. So I knew that was roti then. So for the first 2 months, I ate roti because that was the only name of the food. And I think that's why I love roti so much because I've been eating for 2 straight months. But there was some experience from Fiji, man. Hey, but like I said, when there's a game of Fiji playing against another team, I go for Fiji, man. I always go for Fiji. Yeah.
Your your story it reminds me of most of the Samoans in the military. They come from Samoa, and it's the same thing. We struggle with English, and we get to the cafeteria line, and you're looking at all the menu.
Hey.
So you're listening. You don't know what to order, and the guy in front of you orders something. And most of us that come from Samoa, we're not familiar with it, so we always say same, same. So the next time one kid comes and he looks, he says same, and then the cooks are like same. You guys all
We
want to eat the same thing.
we had one guy that was on our podcast from the military, and he born and raised in Samoa, doesn't speak any English, went to the military and didn't understand any English. But when it went to cafeteria for waiting in line for the food, he just kept, that's all he knew was to say same, same,
Yeah.
same for the
Yeah.
next person. So that was very interesting. So we are actually getting close to the end of our podcast, and I want to ask you one more last question before I turn the
Yeah.
time over to Arlington. If today was your last day, which God forbid it's not, and it's not going to be your last day, this is the chance for you. And given this chance is the last time for you to say something to your kids, especially your kids that you have sacrificed mom and dad to spend time for other people's children.
Mm,
What would you, as a father, what would you say to 6 of your beautiful children and your wife afterwards?
yeah, yeah. So I wish that me and my wife will be, yeah, this is gonna be both our last day, right? So for my children, you know, all I could say to them that you've seen what we've done all our lives, you know. We've seen, yeah, you've seen that, and that's what has, that's how kept us, our family together, and and uh, and happy was seeing those lives that has been changes. Yeah. So continue on to do this work. Yeah. It's you will be blessed with your families. Yeah. There's a saying here in Tonga, like telling the kids what you do to your parents is exactly what your kids is going to do to you. You know, and it kind of changes lives. You know, and it's a lot. So they kind of figure out if you're going to be bad to your parents, or especially your mom, then your children is going to come up and treat you the same. And yeah, and I thought my children already seen what we've done, and they know that it really helps our family to where we are right now. So that was continue on with the legacy that we do. Yeah, that would be. But if my wife is going to be part of those that I'm going to say my last word to, uh, I would say the same thing. Continue on. Yeah, continue on with the good works. And yeah, I thought that was the only thing I was. They have seen the lights and continue on with the work that we've done in House 9. Because you, it's always keep you happy. When you see others, um, they have changes. They're being good. That we have saved so much life. Then why don't you just continue on with the same thing? Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's what I would say so far. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. We really do appreciate that. And
thanks.
again, families are forever for eternity. We believe in that.
Yeah,
And so we're very grateful that you were able to come on here and utilize our platform to share House9 Foundation and also share your stories. And there's a lot more that
no,
Sylvie hasn't shared with you all. So when you get the chance, hit him up because he's got a unique story about a life-saving event when he was younger. We haven't got to that, but
yeah,
we'll have another time for
all
that
right.
if you allow us. But for everybody out there, the information is below for you if you want to donate. He is currently in New Zealand and for the whole month before he leaves back to Tonga. So he's there to try to get
Yeah,
help for his program, his foundation, House9. So look at the information below or contact one of our team members and we'll be able to connect you with Siope and his wife.
yeah,
But again, thank you so much, Siope. Go ahead, Arlington. Sorry.
No, you're fine. And just want to say thanks again for sharing your journey and sharing the works that you do. We continue to offer our encouragement to you, and just to not be ashamed to profess your faith in front of a large audience that we have. And we also,
Yeah. No.
want to acknowledge putting God first and foremost in our lives and the works that you do to continue to have that faith to support you in your work. So when things get tough, prayers are always there, and lean on God in times that we know that what it seems impossible for us to complete under our own will. That's
Yeah.
why we lean on the Holy Spirit
yeah,
you know to
Yeah.
strengthen us as we go along. So I know there's a lot of times that you're challenged when times are down, but um, that's why people like you are in this line of work, because it's not meant to be easy. It's meant for
Yeah.
those who can stand the toughest of times. So yeah, thank you again for the work that you're doing, not only for the Tongan people, but for the Fijian
Yeah.
people. And as you said, it's meant to be a larger outreach to most of the people of the Pacific. So thanks again
Yeah.
for sharing that. The hard works that you've done. But I also want to shout out to my sister Ressa, who's out there. Like I said, the works that we do here, I don't feel like it's an accident that you are on here. But it's interesting. The topic that we had this morning, as I was driving to work and I was listening on Sister Ressa's live,
Mm.
the topic came, and the topic was, supporting your wife and
Mhm.
that relationship. And a lot of what you said today was very, very similar to our morning topic. And before I jumped off, because I was driving to work, I concluded with what we always say: a happy wife,
Yeah.
is happy life.
It is.
And I'm glad that you acknowledge a lot of the work that your wife has done, because a lot of people won't show that strong support
Yeah.
from your better half. So thanks again for sharing that too,
It's true.
and also sharing the values that you brought from your dad to you, and the continuation to your son. So a lot of it is just showing that it's good family values that are continued to put forth, and it's now passed on beyond your family to your secondary kids, because you call the kids that you're rescuing your own kids.
Yes.
So those are also your
Yeah.
kids, and they're also promoting that to future generations. So you've done a lot of work. So beyond that, gave you a lot of thanks, and thanks to Sister Lasso
No
for
problem.
the vision and insight, and bringing on wonderful guests like Siope and others who are lined up for the next couple of weeks. And thanks to all our audience who are tuning in, and those who offered your comments as well for support. So that being said, we close and we say God bless to you all. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Have a good night,
Yeah.
everyone. To God be all the glory.
Thank you very
Have a
much.
good night. Thank you,
Good night.
Sophie.
Ofatu.
Bye. Bye.